All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's all good. You're all business. You're ready to go. You're like, let's learn. Yeah. Okay. All right. Call this meeting to adjourn or to order. Call this meeting to order. We're going to kick it off. It's 10:05. Who has something good to share? Keep it something professional, something real estate related. Tell me something good. Yeah. Okay, so can you share your name and what it was?
Sorry, I'm Christy. Hi. I'm Christy Painter, and just got one of my listings in contract. And it's double ending it. So
wow. How'd you find the buyer?
Well, actually, it was off of the advertising that I did for the listing from Zillow. They contacted me directly because I had a really bad experience with the other agent, and they called me directly.
Boom. There you go.
And went out there, boom, 20 seconds later, they're like, you want to buy it? You're in contract.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Who else has something good? We'll do 3. So that's 1. We need 2 more.
John wanted me to share today.
Yes.
So I have.
What's your name? What's your name?
Oh, sorry. Mariah Bailey. Hello. I have a lot of leads, and they're all on the cusp of signing the listing agreement and buyer's agreement, and it's getting there. But Brenda and I have been crushing open houses lately, and a few of these are double-ended deals.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been really great. And then I've recently built up rapport with 2 realtors, one in Reno and then another one in Idaho. And I'll be sending all my leads there, and they're already sending leads to me. So
wonderful.
I'm keeping up on my drip emails and my personal notes, sending them lotto tickets and sending them baskets. Yeah, it's been good.
So you're getting a lot of these leads from open houses then?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm averaging about 1 per open house now. And they're like a set deal. Yeah.
Boom.
The next 3 months.
That's awesome. All right, big round of applause. All right. Anybody online have anything they want to share? Andy, tell me something good. We need 1 more.
I'm going to give a shout out. Can you hear me?
Alicia? Yeah, we got you.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Rose. I don't know if she's in there in that room, but this week I went ahead and I spoke at Darcy's office about some specialty programs. One being the Placer County $100,000 down payment assistance program. And so if you guys didn't know about it, Placer County has a $100,000 down payment assistance program. It has funding available now. And so Rose took this information and ran with it and did an Instagram post. I was so proud of her. But for all of you guys in all of your spheres, if you went out there and said, hey, everybody, there's a down payment assistance that gives you $100 grand, I guarantee you'll get at least 1 lead, right?
At least.
Now the truth is, and I'll put the link in the Facebook page, don't try to tell them too much, because you guys, they will talk themselves out of it and convince themselves why they don't qualify. So you literally have to say, I don't know all the details. You're going to have to reach out to the lender. And you could, check with your preferred lender if you wanted to have them reach out to me. Absolutely. But I will get the app and the docs. And let's say they don't fit that program. I'll turn right around and tell you and the client what they do qualify for and give you a letter and ship you off to go write offers, right? So these are fabulous programs to use as a lure to get them to call you and apply. But Placer County has funding. City of Roseville has low-income housing specialty houses available. Be familiar with your local city and county programs so that you guys can sound like experts to your database. Even though you're new, these programs are really simple, to be honest. But again, don't tell people too much. I encourage you to not tell them too much. So I just wanted to share that because I was really, really proud of Rose for taking the data and running with it and marketing it.
That's perfect. Anybody have any questions for Alicia about that?
Alicia, what's that program called? Do you know the actual name for it?
Placer County First Time Home Buyer Assistance. And I'll put the link in the Brent Gove Facebook page so you guys can kind of loop around later and go check it out.
Thank you.
Awesome.
But don't send your client to the link necessarily, because again, they end up going, well, I didn't fit this little piece of it. And I've helped clients fit, right? So I can get creative and help squeeze them in sometimes if they're close. So I'll put that in there so you guys have all the data.
So we have the data, but rather than send them to the link, we should just send them to you. Like here's the lady that here's the lender that can help you with the down payment assistance program. Give them her email, your phone number, maybe even a warm call, like a connection, right?
Yes, group text, whatever, but it'll help you get a qualified person back rather than them trying to figure out on their own, because then they lose their gusto. You know what I mean? Like they'll talk themselves out of it. Very exciting.
Perfect. Hey, with that, you mind giving us an update on what's happening in the world of mortgages, Alicia?
So there's some good and bad. And when I say bad, it's not really that bad. If you guys were wanting to refinance and haven't, they just removed an adverse market fee off any refinances of 0.5%. So it's good in the sense that any of your clients who are going to refi before they buy, it will help them. Or if any of you personally need a loan, it'll help you. But it is going to increase loan applications again. So the loan applications had come down, and so they decided to remove that fee to encourage more applications to come in. So it's a good thing, but it will create even a little bit harder to get appraisals. I am doubling my appraisal offers. I honestly offered a appraiser yesterday $1,700 to get it back to me in 48 hours. So a normal appraisal that's $600, I'm throwing 1,700 and $2,000 at people going, get it back in 3 days. So just know that if you're being told the appraisal's not going to be back till August 2nd, 100% tell that lender to double the fee and try again. And you watch how fast it comes back. So I just wanted to give you that tool, because you don't have to be, you don't have to suffer and wait that time. You just have to throw money at it. That is one thing we're dealing with. And that was a quick solution that really worked well. Money
It
talks.
also works well with spouses too. You just throw money at it. And
Yeah. The market is great and rates are great. I locked a 2.125 15-year yesterday. So rates are phenomenal, back in the twos right now. We don't know how long it'll last, and that's what you need to tell your clients. Hey, great news, we're back in the twos, but who knows how long this is going to last. The rate lock advisory says if you want to take advantage of these rates, you need to lock right now. They may go up within 30 days. So just use that urgency. And if you guys ever want to sound like you know what you're talking about with rates, Google daily rate lock advisory. I'm going to put that in the Facebook page too. So I used to pay $700 a year for this, and I Googled it one day and went, well, shoot, I have no problem sending my client to another lender's website to get this data, because it says, here's what rates are going to do today. Rates change 3 times a day. Here is what's coming out and why, and what we think rates are going to do. So it just makes you sound professional and knowledgeable when you get the data, and you can snip it and paste it and email it to them. But it helps clients, it helps relieve anxieties. So I'll send that in there.
Are there any tips on how to give them that data? Because I've been chastised for posting rates online or sharing that with people.
So it doesn't actually provide you the rate itself, but it does say if you are considering locking in, we recommend you lock if you're closing in the next 7, 20, or 30 days or 60 days, or it'll say we recommend you float, which means they anticipate rates are going to get better. So you just want to, if clients go, did you hear what happened on the Fed report today? And you don't want to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So that website will say, today the Feds meet and we're predicted to increase rates by 1/4, stuff like that. So I just snippet it and send it to the client to say, hey, I'm not an economist, but great news. I have access to the data, and so do you. So I just teach my customers to Google this, and I point them to the data instead, so that I'm not, because then if the market shifts, they're not blaming me
Exactly.
for misinformation, right? So I just point them to the resources, and it helps ease their anxiety, because when they see that rates are down and they may stay down for like a short period of time, it does get them to go, well, let's go see it this weekend. Let's try to take advantage while we can. I'm always trying to create urgency, of course.
Absolutely. And you got to, I mean, that's a good reason just to get people in your cars or in their own cars, depending how you do it. You get them into a house because if they see it, they'll buy. That's a Brent Gove thing, right? So if you get them in their car and they start seeing what it is, seeing the properties, envisioning themselves and their families in those homes, all of a sudden they went from, oh, I'm going to buy next year to how much would my payment be on this house, right? And next thing you're submitting an offer. So keep that in mind. Yay, Darcy made it. So any other questions? Alicia, do you have, oh, yeah.
I just have one. So the interest rate that's in the twos, what kind of credit score do they need?
I can get any credit score into the twos right now. I mean, at the end of the day, if a client, doesn't have the greatest credit, they might be able to pay a point to get there, and it depends on their loan to value. So if they're doing an FHA, even if without the greatest credit, I can still get them into the twos. So I would let clients know that, hey, even if you don't have the best credit, you can still get into the twos right now. Because with different programs, you can get them there, or I'll help them fix their credit. You know what I mean? So just tell people that if that's a concern of theirs. I did want to mention I'm going to Mexico tomorrow. I'm really excited. But my phone will be forwarded to JC on my team. She is literally the closest to me I have on my team. Extremely bubbly. She is a diehard. She's a workaholic. And so she's on call all weekend. So we will still be able to get you your pre-quals within 4 business hours or 24 hours if it's after hours, no matter what, as long as we get all docs. So keep that in mind if you guys are busy this weekend at open houses.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Everybody give Alicia a round of applause.
Hey, thank you.
Next up, I was sweating bullets because I was really counting on Darcy.
Sorry.
Darcy's telling us some
My
stuff.
signature for-
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. So Darcy has some tips and some tricks. I don't know exactly what it is, but you said you wanted to present and
Yeah,
had a
that'd
good
be
idea. All right, everybody give Darcy a round of applause.
Sorry, I was at a signing and they had a trust and it took a little while. Okay, I made some notes. So I have this listing, it's actually gonna close next week. And it was in Granite Bay and listed it for $989. And I kind of want to list it for $969, but my clients wanted $989 in hopes to get 1 mil. We had one comp at 1.1, but one. All the other ones were like 950. So I was a little concerned about this, but we still had that one comp. So I put it on the market at $989. I want to show you how this worked out. Super cool. And I just did one little extra step and I made up an extra 100 grand. It was crazy. So now I'm like always going to be thinking this stuff. Okay, so the first, I put it on the market $989. And I take offers as they come in. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I just take them as they come in. I don't hold them. I'm like, bring us an offer so I don't have to do the open house, right? So the first one comes in and it is at $1,050,000. All contingencies. And everybody across the board was 200K to 300K down. 30-day close. That was kind of all the same. Okay, so that was cool, but I did love this. Okay, second one comes in. $1,075,000, no contingencies except inspection, right? Okay. Third one, $1,088,000, no contingencies except inspection, and then the last one was $1,080,000. Cool how the market kind of tells you what the house is worth, right? We're all there. Okay. So, and they had no contingencies except inspection too, right? Okay. So right now, this is my best offer because of these guys, right? So I always call and I get on the phone right away before I do any counters because I'm like, I got to fill people out, right? So I call him, I've worked with him a few times. And I'm like, hey, can you do no contingencies except inspections? Like, absolutely not. We will not do that. I'm like, what'd you guys do as is? He's like, it's a 1960s home. Like, we're not going to do as is, you know? And I'm like, okay, so this is now not my best offer, right? So I was kind of discouraged. I was like, bummer. All right. So I came over to here and they're like, we have to have it. This is our highest and our best. I'm like, okay. And I go here. I'm like, will you guys go any higher? She's like, maybe. I'm like, but will you go as is? No, if we're going as is, we're not going any higher. Okay, that's good. I like that. I like that offer. And I like this agent a lot. She's a good agent. And these guys never responded to me after they made the
Really?
offer. Yeah. So I had all these people. So my clients are like, well, these guys are out, right? And I'm driving to my clients for them to literally accept this offer. Like, because these guys won't come up. They'll do it as is. I'm going to do just a small counter as is. And he sends over 1,150,000. No joke. Because I told him, I was like pestering him, you know, can you lift these other contingencies? Will you go any higher? And he's like, we have to have it. But then he won't get rid of his contingencies, but he just raised it 100 grand. So now I'm like, dang it. So then I call her. I'm like, will you do 1.150 as is? I'm like, just straight up telling her. She's like, absolutely not. I'm not going to. I'm like, okay. So now I'm stuck. And this is what we have. And it's never going to appraise for us. Never. So I just countered everybody, all 4 of them, just for the heck of it. And I just brought these guys up to here, right? Up to here. And then I took off all their contingencies and made it as is. So no contingencies, as is. And my clients are like, why are we even doing that? I'm like, just in case, right? So countering these guys, these are my only ones that accept. And then boom, they accept my counter. No contingencies, as is 1.150. And we're closing on Monday.
Wow.
But I was going to 86 then because he was totally pushing back on me. And he's like, and he was kind of doing that. I don't know if you guys have had this as a listing agent where the buyer's agent argues with you about purchase price, right? I'm all, do you think that we want to work with you if you're arguing with me about where we play, you know?
Nope.
Like, tell me everything I want to hear. And so when I'm coming out, I'm going, this is where you need to be. He's like, not to 1960s, how did you see that? And I'm like, and I just on a whim, I'm like, it's going to take me 5 minutes. I counter them and try to bring everybody else up. These guys are the only ones got me, and then boom, they accept it.
That's awesome.
Boom. That's incredible.
So I just for our little guy, because sometimes out of nowhere they step up.
And that was kind of manageable too with 4 offers. There wasn't like 50 million
Yes.
offers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had another one that Lori won on, and I could tell you guys all now because we're in contract and Lori got it. So let me show you that how that went. You'll like to see this too, Lori. How it went. Okay. So before we hit the market, I had an offer at 1.5. My clients wanted 1.7, by the way, but the home is worth about 1.5. So we had off market 1.5. We hit the market. I immediately get an offer at 1.5 from somebody else. And then I have these guys, I say, counter me anytime, just counter us, tell us what you want. But we don't know yet what we want because we don't know what we're gonna do. Lori comes in at 1.55, right, Lori? Yeah. Okay, so then I call them and say, hey, we've got offers over yours. She's like, oh my gosh. 1.6, Lori doesn't know. 1.6, right? And I'm like, Lori, you gotta be over 1.6, right? Oh, I countered her. I countered you to 1.6. And the smart agent that she is, she countered me back. Am I even writing this right? One area, 5,000 more. That's it. But nobody else did, and nobody else would go higher. These guys hated me, like wanted to like put me on a shake list because I didn't accept their offer. I'm like, you just came in the first day I'd asking. And then Lori came up and these guys could not go a penny over 1.6.
Wow.
So she won $5 grand.
Wow.
There you go.
Little tricks, you never know, you know.
No
It's hard.
fear. No fear.
Yeah, and it's hard, you know, I like to tell, I like to lead. You know, but just don't forget about the little man. I cannot play.
That's awesome. Yeah, the little man story.
Yeah.
Just closed one. He was actually looking for $150,000 blank parcel vacant land. We just closed on a $650,000 deal.
Wow. You never
So
know.
it's listed at $699 and up for $650. He originally wanted $150,000 vacant land.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Very,
So
very.
never underestimate. You don't be afraid to be brave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Show options.
So
Show
true.
options.
And it's all about how we present to as a buyer's agent, you know, and I'm learning a lot just from having a lot of listings right now on how people are. Well, first of all, they go MIA. And then other ones, I'm like, stalk me. I literally have to tell them, like, you're not even calling me. Like, I don't even remember who you are. Yeah.
Mhm.
So be on their mind, deliver them goodies, do everything you can. Lori did an excellent job. She was just checking in, you know, all the time. I always knew that they wanted it. So that's awesome.
That's great tips.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darcy.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
on that same thing, I
Yeah.
can hear Brent in the back of my voice telling us to do that. So we have a problem sometimes as buyer's agents, especially me as a bulldog, trying to do what that agent did, which was get the deal, get the best deal for your client. And Brent's voice tells me, your job is not to get the best deal for your client. You think that's your job as a buyer's agent, but it's not. Your job is to get the house for your client,
Yeah.
not the best deal for your client. Your client negotiated a great deal, but guess what? He didn't get the freaking house he wanted,
Yep.
right? So remember that as a buyer's agent,
That's good.
your job is, and I tell my clients that, hey, now we're in multiple offers. I just went from trying to get you a good deal to trying to get you the house.
Yeah.
It's a total different conversation. My role has switched. I tell my client that. My job is no longer to get you a good deal. My job is to get you the house. Now, if you tell me that's not what you want, great. I'll go back to negotiating like a bulldog.
Yeah.
But if you want this house,
Yeah.
you gotta start doing it. And 10 years from now, you're not gonna be questioning whether you paid 50 grand over. You're going to be questioning whether you're living in Del Paso or whether you're living in Roseville.
And it may not even be 10 years. It could be 6 years or 6 months. It could be a year,
I know.
right? At the rate we're going right now. And so the people who thought houses were too expensive in October, November of 2020 are now kicking themselves, wishing they would have gone 5 grand over, 10 grand over, right?
And when you break it down, it's really not that much. I mean, really, it doesn't. when
And you break it down on payment,
Yeah.
I mean, we're saying 5 grand, 10 grand in here, but out there for an extra $20 a month, an extra $30 a
Yeah,
month.
10 grand is gonna be 50 bucks a month.
50, 60, yeah.
At these rates, it goes up if your rate goes up higher, right? So if you see rates go back up to 4, say 60. But if rates are down here in the 3s, 50 grand. I mean, 50 bucks for every $10,000.
Yeah, which is really nothing when you're looking at it at the end of the day.
And you, so what do they call it? Like the penny script or
We used to
whatever?
call it the pizza close, but
Where it's like, hey, yeah, so they, in their mind, maybe $60 a month is a lot. Well, shoot, man, that's only $2 a day. Like $2 a day. How many hours are you gonna be living in this? That's pennies for every hour, right? That your family's gonna be living here, growing up here, playing in the pool, having the 4th of July, doing things like make it real to them. And for an extra just a couple cents, a couple bucks a day, this house could be yours. So
for the low price.
for the low price
Sorry.
of $1,150,000. Oh, okay. So real quick, I wanted to touch on, Barry, you mind sharing just remind everybody the Wednesdays?
Yeah, hey, Wednesday, lunch and learn here. Food is on us. This is a Brent sponsored event. Come on in and we'll be going over the basics of the EXP program. EXP, when you send them the video, they watch it. Yeah, that's good, but they don't get everything. They need to be in a room where they can ask some questions and get some details. Having somebody there that's not you is also good. The biggest thing that I am in that setting is not you. It's not that I'm incredible, it's just I'm not you. They need the third party and to come in and talk to them about the success there. And Connie was at the event this week. Was that rolled out pretty good?
Absolutely. You did a great job expressing the program and also your own personal experience and the success that you've had on the platform. So it was excellent.
Thank you. And that really does help cement the relationships. They've heard it from you. They need to hear it from somebody else. 12 o'clock on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, 12 o'clock.
Okay. So Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. A couple other events coming up. I had it on the screen. Let me share my screen again. Mix and mingle, right? I did a mixer. Was it last Thursday?
Dude, that thing was awesome, man. I saw the pictures of that. People were going nuts in there.
It was awesome. Alicia showed up. It was a lot of fun. So if you went to the last one, or if you missed the one last week, go to this one, July 29th. It is going to be insane. It's going to be at the Mix in downtown Sacramento. There's going to be over 500 people there.
What's the address of the Mix?
It's a long time.
Yes. Break that streak and
that's
go.
L Street, right?
Go. It's 1525 L
Will
Street.
they let us in? I mean, we're over 50.
I know.
Are they gonna even let us in?
They'll let you in.
Because they have bouncers at the door and keeps the, less desirable.
They'll
people out.
let you in.
Okay.
They'll let you in.
Okay.
Just I'll walk in and you can come
I've
with
seen
me.
the line.
You can
You're
come
gonna
with
have to
me.
Let me in.
Not
I
yeah.
normally get turned away at places like
This
that.
is your chance, Barry. This is
They're
your
like, "You look
time.
like a cop. I don't think so.
But anyways, go to Eventbrite. It's Mix and Mingle. It's free. You're gonna meet some fantastic fantastic individuals, maybe even get some clients and deals out of it. It's from 5 to 8, but it continues. Oh, 4 to 8, 4 to 8 p.m., but it really continues
Oh,
until.
that's why they let me in. Is it's 4 to 8?
Yeah.
At 9, they start with the cover charge and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And then don't forget the upcoming events. We have Kyle Whistle also in that same day, right? So that's going to be an incredible event as well. It's free. It's at PCAR 2 to 4. So you can do that one. Then just anybody you met there or brought to the event, just say, hey, let's go down to the mix as well, and then spend the rest of the day with them.
Hey guys, there's nothing you're doing that's more important than getting 5 people to go to that event with you. Okay? Out of your whole weekend, everything you've got planned, you really need to target 5 people to come to that event with you. That is going to be your highest and best use of your time.
100%.
What I'm doing, my
Yep.
people.
Yep. Any questions on the events?
Number 1 agent in San Diego for 7 years running. Number 3 agent in California. And Bomb says he's the number 1 video influencer in the nation. And he's going to tell you how to get listings. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I think we should be there. He's adorable and he's super relatable.
That's
Adorable?
PCAR.
He's
PCAR.
so cute.
Everyone know where PCAR
I will
is?
not be using that word. Thank you very much.
Totally
Hey, come on,
adorbs.
Mike, he's adorable.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's young. He wears like a flat little hat and he's just very, you kind of just, it's not.
It's got the San Diego vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll talk right directly to you. You're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
He's adorable.
And he's adorable. So,
But you gotta go because he's adorable.
okay. Moving off of Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. We know you're adorable. So the main thing that we were going to discuss today, after, Alicia, it's only you. We've been getting a lot of questions about this. A lot of people are wondering, how do I hold open houses? Like Johnny, if you have any listings coming up, can I hold an open house? Hey, does anybody on the team have a house that they can hold open, right? What we're going to cover today is how you could potentially, if you wanted to, hold an open house 7 days a week until Jesus comes back, until the end of time. Okay. So before we get into that, what you do matters. I think Kyle Whistle said is who you work with matters, right? But what you do on a daily basis matters. So raise your hand if you have a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend. Raise your hand if you have a significant other. Okay. They're watching you. They're watching you day in and day out. When you go to work, when you don't go to work, when you sleep in, when you get that listing, when you come home without the listing, they're watching you. Right? I'm preaching to the choir right now. Valerie's getting red in the face. Okay. How about this? Let's up the ante a little bit. Who has kids? Raise your hand if you have kids. Now, you know they're watching. He's not watching me yet. The one in Valerie's belly isn't watching yet. He's not. He's hearing, but he's not watching, right? And so what you do on a daily basis not only affects your personal relationships, but it impacts how your kids see you and how they're going to interact with the world. How you show up for you is going to impact how your kids show up for them. Okay. With that, I wanted to share a quick story. I just heard it just this morning about a girl named Haley. And I don't know her dad's name, so we'll call him Jim. But Haley, she was going through middle school. I remember middle school for like my sister. Like we're really close in age. Like we're almost like twins. She's 16 months younger than me. I remember my contemporaries, like the girls I was hanging out with in high school. Middle school was rough for girls. Like, can the ladies in the room attest to that? Like it is not a pleasant thing. And that was no different for Haley. So she was really struggling with suicidal thoughts. And her dad, he was a great guy. And he worked, but he was there for his family. And she decided she was going to end her life. And so she walked down the stairs late at night, and she was gonna get a knife and end it. Luckily, her dad's sitting there working, and she sees him, and she just breaks down into tears, right? And starts crying. They get her help, and but then he notices she starts backsliding. And just her mood's darker, her days are darker, right? And he's like, man, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then he heard about this challenge. And it had nothing to do with depression, had nothing to do with family. It was just personal development. And the challenge was get up and walk 1 mile a day for 90 days. Just walk 1 mile a day. And he said, you know what? I'm going to do that with my daughter. Okay. So she didn't want to do it. She fought it, right? I mean, Valerie and I like walking together, but there's sometimes where, man, I love that woman to death. There's some days I don't want to walk with her. So I can't imagine what it's like with a teenage girl, right? A preteen girl. Day one hated it. Day two hated it. Day three hated it. But then they started getting along a little bit better. They started bonding. I mean, it takes what, 20 minutes to walk a mile? And so 20 minutes a day. And at the end of the 90 days, he thought that their relationship was great. She had a much more positive outlook on life. And he thought that would be it. Day 91, she knocks on his door and says, "Hey, Dad, we're going to go for a walk," right? And so fast forward, they've now been walking, I think it's something like 463 days in a row, haven't missed a day. Her life has changed, their relationship has changed, and it was that one little change done consistently over time has made the difference in their relationship. Okay, so with that, this does tie into open houses, believe it or not. This does tie into open houses. But with that, today, Valerie's due date is October 22nd, which magically is 90 days from today. So what I'd like to try and do with Valerie, if she's down for it, she's just hearing about this for the first time, is try to go on a little walk every evening. And I would encourage all of you, even if it's just by yourself, to find somebody to go with you, but at the very least, do it by yourself and just go for a little walk. Not only is it a healthy habit, but I think you'll see some real benefit out of it. Okay, Manu?
It's really personal to me, that story, because my 7-year-old, when he was a year ago, he was using words like that. I want to kill myself. And it was horrible to hear that. So I took him to the pastor after the service at the desk meet. And I told him, like, he's using these kind of words, like, it just scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he shouldn't be using this language, like, nobody talked like that in my house. So pastor prayed with him, and he said, it's really, like, dark. You should spend time with him and, like, pray with him. So Sam and I decided to pray with him every day, and before he goes to sleep. He really fought it every time. He's a 6-year-old, doesn't like to pray to go to bed. Sometimes we play some songs, like worship songs, and read a scripture and pray. Sometimes when it's tired, like, okay, you're tired, I'll just say a prayer. So we've been praying with him, like, almost for a year. And I haven't heard that word from him ever since. Like,
awesome.
He hasn't used that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Manu. Yeah, that's real. That's a real story. Because your family life impacts your business life. How your kids are treating you is going to affect how you show up to your clients. If your kids, saying they hate you, how are you going to really like connect with that client? Professionals, you can do it. You can separate it, but it makes your life more difficult. So if you take care of home life, just do one little walk a day, you'll probably see an improvement in your life. Back to open houses, okay? Because this has everything to do with open houses, okay? So what we're going to cover is 1, how to find an open house. We're going to cover 2, how to host an open house. Number 3, how to follow up, host open house, and how to close. Emphasis is going to be on 1 and 2, but we will touch all 4, okay? So who wants to grow their business, right? Everybody does. It's easy to raise your hand. I saw some hands go up. So why do you want to grow your business? Can you give us a reason? Like what do you have to gain if your business grows? No. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Teresa. Sorry, Teresa. Yeah.
Why do I want to grow my business?
Yes, ma'am.
To help other people.
Help other people?
I have a lot of charities that I want to donate to.
So how would those benefit so other people would benefit by you growing your business?
Yes.
Beautiful. Darcy, I saw your hand shot straight up. That ranch in Montana, is that what it is?
Yeah.
What's your why?
For sure.
Any other whys?
Montana's got up a lot recently. Just to, spread more of a foundation, spread more to my team, get more, create more systems that will help grow that more. Just growth is good, just to be always achieving more.
Yeah.
Not staying stagnant,
Mm-hmm. Your success is everybody else's success as well.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out why, everybody wants a bigger business, but really, why do you want to do it? Because if you don't have a driving motivator behind that, you're really not going to show up. Everybody's heard that, but everybody says it because it's so true. Okay. So You are your greatest asset. Uncle B, Brent Gove, says that all the time. You are your greatest asset. If you're taking notes, you might want to write that down. You are your greatest asset and your greatest liability.
Yeah.
If you succeed or fail, it's rests solely on your shoulders. So, all right. So one, let's get into it. How do you find an open house? Super easy, right? The easiest way to do it is to find a vacant open house. You don't have to deal with tenants. You don't have to deal with clients. There's no pets. There's nobody there. So how do you find a vacant open house? It takes 30 seconds. I'll do it right now. Show you how I did this. By the way, Val and I held open houses 7 days a week for 90 days. So it's not easy, but it's doable. So everybody's familiar with MetroList, right? You go to searches, go to standard. You're doing a standard search. We're casting a broad net here. So residential, active, and then go down to cities. So pick the cities you work in. The more cities you pick, the more options you have. So let's go Roseville. Sorry, I typed it. I don't. Casting a wide net. Yeah. Roseville or RCK, Rockland, Citrus. Let's throw Lincoln in there. So we got 4 cities, preview count. There's 344 active properties right now, okay? Don't hit view results.
One in reference, we used to have that just in Roseville at any given time.
Yeah, so you can't, that's fine. You've got to cast a little bit wider net, but you'll still see there's more than enough opportunity here. So then go to additional criteria, and then you scroll down to showing instructions. And then scroll down, because you see this, the include column. Go down and scroll down to vacant. Check that box, vacant with lockbox. Remember we had like, what was it, 300, 400 houses before? Yeah, but now it's 131 still.
Wow.
You click view results. These are vacant houses. These are ripe for open house opportunities. And then what I like to do is I click on status state, and then you click on it a couple times and it'll go from the oldest to the newest, and then click on it again and go newest to old. And so here's a brand new listing. Let's click on it. What you always want to do before you start calling these agents is make sure that they don't have an open house already booked, because you're going to look like an idiot if you're wanting to hold an open house that they've already scheduled. So scroll down. So look, Spencer's got an open house, or Bree has an open house. So you may not want to call for an open house on the 24th. Fair enough. Don't be that guy or gal. So then scroll down.
But you could ask for a different date.
You could ask for a different date, 100%, 100%.
That's just Saturday, Sunday.
That's just Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
And then I'm not seeing it. I'm scrolling fast. If anybody else sees it, let me know. Look, no open house. It's vacant. 575. What is that? 12, 15 grand, right? If you get a buyer out of that, okay, gross commission. And all you have to do is just call up the agent. Now, what agents will say is, regardless whether you're calling EXP, Remax, Keller, independent brokerages, they're going to say, sorry, my broker doesn't allow us to let other agents hold it open. That's what you're going to hear that, right? And then, so you call, we'll just say Remax. You call Remax agent A, say, sorry, we can't do it. You call Remax B, agent B, same office, same brokerage. They're going to say, absolutely. Thank you so much. My seller really wanted an open house. I'm going to Monterey for the weekend. I did not want to do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you call enough people, you have 133 opportunities here, people, right? Obviously, you want to start with your circle, start with the XP, start with the people who are on your team, start with the listing agents you already know. But if you don't have an opportunity, here's 131 people that you can call. Any questions on this?
Don't take an opportunity from an agent that's a crap house.
Yeah.
But just because it's easy to get the open,
Yeah.
don't take the crap house. Also, I would probably add to this, looking at it on a map and making sure it's not buried in a back neighborhood with 18 turns. But this is exactly how we grew our real estate business, is doing this exact thing.
Yeah.
What is it?
We call me that.
Yeah, you don't want more than 2 or 3 turns from a main artery.
Mhm.
And then ugly houses too. If you look at it from the outside and it's ugly, don't do it. I don't do condos. You might. I wouldn't do condos, and I don't do gated communities usually. But that's up to you guys. It's just too much of a pain to deal with the gate.
With the gated community, I found that that's actually a lot easier to get their information.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah, sure,
then you
sure.
post the open house right next to the keypad and you say for a temporary code, even if it's not temporary, because
Right.
you don't want the other residents to get
Text
upset
Mariah.
with you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden they have that. Yeah.
Is this your number? 916, da, da, da. Oh, yeah, that's me. I just texted you. Oh, bingo.
And then right after the open house, I sent them my little thank you for coming to the open house video.
Oh, that's perfect.
There you
Awesome.
go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Yeah.
tip.
So if you do, either way works. I like gated communities, but if you've had, anything works if you do it enough times. Success is a math problem, okay? So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind.
It's just a mindset. It's easy to overcome, like Mariah said. You
Yeah.
just put a sign on it, they text you the code.
Get their info.
100%. All right, so we all know how to find these houses, right? Pretty easy. I can do it. Valerie's laughing. She's like, I didn't even know he knew how to log into the MLS. Yes, I know how to log into the MLS, right? Okay, so prior to the open house, you're going to want to do your research on the home, especially if you're doing these all the time. If you're doing them 7 days a week, you may not be familiar with the neighborhood. Does it have mill roofs? Does it not have a mill roof? You're going to get all these questions, and a good way to instill confidence in these people that you've never met before is to have answers to the questions. I mean, don't say, I don't know. You can always say, I'll find out, but having a quick, concise answer comes across as much more knowledgeable, much more professional than I'll find out. Let me get back to you. Okay, what should I text you that information at? And so what Valor and I have done is we created a little form. Anybody can create this form. It's super easy. But just for example, these are questions that we have and that we try to get answered prior to the open house. So for example, is there an alarm? You don't want to show up to the house and not have the alarm code because you forgot to. Typically, it's in the showing remarks. But in case, just make sure you have the alarm code. Is there a gate code? Right? Get that. Bed, bath, days on market, all the basic stuff. But here are some questions that we get that's not so readily available. Sometimes it's not disclosed. Is the solar leased or is it owned? It has solar, but is it leased? Is it owned? Okay. What's the cost of the HOA? What does the HOA include? What are the school districts? Right? There's a meme going around right now with this guy sweating bullets when he's asked, hey, what school district is this? And he just doesn't know, right? So know the school districts. When were the updates done? If there are updates, when was the addition completed? This one threw me for a loop one time. Who built it? I was like, that's a weird question. I don't know. Because if this is a Lennar, I'm not buying it. And I'm like, then Lennar did not build this, you know? Melrose, we get that question all the time. Annual property taxes, what's it zoned? And what we're seeing more and more, I just had to add this one, is what's the possible monthly rent? Like if I were, because it's an investor, they're here on the weekend from the Bay Area, seeing open houses, what would this rent for? Right? So just think about that do your research prior to holding the open house open. Don't let the research stop you. Get the open houses scheduled, right? But then these are just common questions.
Johnny, that's also, the rent is also just a test of you. Often it's throw the question, by the way, what's rent for? They're testing you. See if you know the market. Even though we don't deal with a lot of rents, if I'm an investor and I'm looking at you as my guided, expert in the area.
Yeah, they want to know that you know your stuff.
Yeah, they want to know if you know your stuff.
100%.
Share that, like the post from today or something like that on Facebook?
Yes. Yeah. I'll create a PDF and I'll share the PDF.
They want to know how old is the roof?
Oh, how old's the roof's another one. Yeah.
How old is the
Utility
water
bills.
heater?
Yeah.
Hot water
And you
heater?
could kill yourself. Like you can do like 30 minutes of research on this, right? Which is good, but are you going to remember it? Right. So whatever questions you get, I'm not trying to like say, hey, that roof's a silly thing. Roof's a great point. We should probably add that, but don't get bogged down in the details, because as most real estate agents, this isn't their thing, right? But if you know some of these answers, even if you know half of them, right, your chances of converting that lead go up.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Quick tip on schools. If you put the address into Zillow, it'll give you the academic scores and the schools there are, all the way from elementary, middle to high school.
Absolutely. It's not hard. Gradeschools.org. There's all kinds of things, right?
Zillow actually helped them.
What's the A in Zillow stand for? Does anybody know that? What's the A in Zillow stand for?
There is.
Accuracy. There you go. Joke of the day. Real estate joke of the day. I'm working on my dad jokes. So, okay. Cool. So, we've done that. So now you have an open house. Now you know about the open house. So how do you set up for it, right? Has anybody heard the fruit stand analogy? Right? So for those of you who haven't, like how many times you've been out driving around and you think, ooh, man, I just really want to get where I'm going. You know, you're going to Costco and you're like, man, I want to get to Costco. And then all of a sudden you see fresh strawberries and you see fresh strawberries in half a mile, fresh, and you're like, man, screw Costco. I want some strawberries, you know, and you pull in, you get some strawberries. When you left for home, you had no intention of picking up strawberries at a random stand on the side of the road, right? That's what you're trying to do with the open house signs. So what Brent teaches is that you should put out a minimum of 25 open house signs, minimum. Follow the state or the city laws. Follow the city laws when you're doing this, okay? You want to be respectful of other people's property. Don't be putting signs in the middle of the street. Don't be putting them in crosswalks. Last thing you want to do is let little Billy can't get across the street because you've blocked his only access and he's in a wheelchair, okay? Quick story, I'll tell you the story. I learned this one the hard way. Did not affect little Billy, but it's a funny story. I just seen this presentation by Brent, and I was like, you know what? I'm going all in. Screw 25. I'm doing 50. And so I called around. I got an open house in Serrano. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. Let's go. And so I put 50 open house signs in Serrano. It was pretty epic. And so people are going, man, you put a lot of signs up. I've never seen anybody do this before. I'm like, yeah, that's because, you know, I'm serious about this. And then I get a call from the listing agent. She's like, what the heck did you do? And I'm like the owners are getting called by the HOA, you know, like you need to get those signs down now. So Valerie's still holding the house open. So I book it, and I'm like driving, I'm picking up the signs as fast as I can. I get about 10 in. And then I come head to head with the security for the Serrano. And it's this poor guy. It was middle of summer. It was like August. It's like 105 degrees outside. It's like noon at this point. And this poor old guy, he's just like sweating from head to foot. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Like, I'll go get the rest of the signs. I'm doing it right now. He's like, no need. I've already got the other 40 of them in my back. I'm like, oh man. So he was super cool. He actually picked them all up for me, so it worked out, you know, and he gave them back to me, didn't charge me a fine, so I got lucky there. But just be careful when you're putting the signs out that you're following the state, you know, city laws and regulations, or the HOA.
I go back to my previous statement about HOAs.
Yeah.
A lot of HOAs will take them and they'll charge you to get them back.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I got super lucky. I was like,
In LA, they do it all the time.
oh, these signs cost me $500 and it's cost me $2,000 to get them back, you know? No, but it worked out. So thank you.
I had that happen to me in Sun City. And they collected them for me and I had to find, where's my signs? And I had to go find them and pick them up, and they had them in the back, locked in a room, but they didn't charge me.
There you go.
But I just do it twice. Yes, and certain open house.
For each
Yeah.
one. like, you
In
know,
Sun
and
City,
also-
You have to use theirs.
No, there's a certain
Color,
platform and
design.
color and
Yeah.
design that you have to use it, so that you can't put it on the sidewalk. They're very specific. It's good
Yeah.
to know it because they have the community going to help control it.
Yep.
You want to make it right.
Yeah, in Gold River, in Gold River, you can only have their signs. They only allow you 3, and you have to leave a deposit of $100 per sign.
What?
So I gave them a
Yeah.
check for $300 that I
Right, that's-
collected, that I got back on Monday when I returned the signs. But that's outside of Gold River, you could put, I blanketed all over outside of Gold River, but in Gold River, 3 signs, that's it. It's ridiculous.
So when you're doing your research on the houses that you want to hold open, make sure that they're close to a freeway, close to a major street, not far away, and make sure that you can do the lot of sign thing, because the purpose of the signs was one, very, very soft marketing for yourself, showing that you have strong work ethic, but mainly to drive traffic to the open house. If you can't put signs up, you're going to have limited traffic to the open house. There are, if you want to find out more about what the signs look like and what Brent recommends, you go to brentgove.com. By the way, there's about an hour-long training that's recorded on here. Go to buyers.
I don't know why the training on there is really low quality.
It is low quality.
I don't know why we haven't got something new there, so I'll mention that.
It's really good, but here are the EXP open house signs.
It's good content.
Oh, no, that's just general signs. Brent's favorite solid content, right? So if you want to get these made, you can take them to your local sign guy. You can do them through EXP. Brent uses Paradise signs.
They are awesome, by the way.
Yeah, that's who Valor and I use, Paradise.
Yeah, they take good care. They actually messed up an order for me and they fixed it like right away and didn't even charge me extra.
Yep. And Larry's a solid guy. If you're going to get those signs, make sure you get the heavy H. What do they call them? Stakes. H stakes.
They actually are out of them right now, trying to.
Oh, really?
The PVC?
And soccer ball.
No,
I
I'm
just-
talking about the H frame, the black H frame. They have a silver one that's not as good, but they'll come back to black.
Yeah, I've used the silver ones for a long time. And I just picked, they have those. Yeah. And so you're gonna want those and you're gonna want bungees. The bungees, the ones that I get are the ones that are, what's that store that I'm not allowed to go to alone? Harbor Freight. So they have these orange ones, at least when I last went, they were orange and they're adjustable, right? So you don't have to get like 5 of different sizes. Get a bunch of these adjustable ones. You can tie them together. You can wrap them around telephone poles. You can put them around signs, light posts. So that way you're not sticking them in people's grasses and pissing off neighbors. And if they see it, they'll take it and throw it in the trash, right? So, and sometimes the ground's hard, right? So you're gonna want the heavy H frames, the orange bungee cords, and now you're at the open house, right? Now it's either you put the signs up, you've hired your husband or your spouse to put the signs up, or you brought your kid along and you're driving along and he's shoving the signs in the ground.
Yes.
See,
Many a weekend.
are you still in that
Are you still in
profession?
that business?
Yes, I'm still. I still am.
Okay.
So what he's saying is, do you want all these agents to call you?
How many open houses can you do in a morning?
Yeah.
You can do 6 open houses a day. If you have a sign guy, you can keep busy putting out. I've done that before where I've alternated my team. Set up, tear down, tear down, tear down. Going back, yeah.
So you've got the open house, you got the signs out, you're ready to go, you're ready to rock. What are you gonna do when people come in? There are a couple different things you can do. What Brent recommends is that you have one of these made up and you just let them know. And this is where you need to be like on point with what the different loan opportunities are currently today. What are the interest rates, right? Do they know there's a Placer County grant for first-time home buyers up to 100 grand, right? Down payment assistant. And so really learn more. We'll get you pre-approved and then you get them to fill this out. Okay. At the very least, get an email or a phone number so that we can follow up with them and hopefully set post open house appointments. If they're hot to trot, if the open house is slow, so you know what? I know of a couple of houses that would fit your criteria that are vacant right now. Let's go pop over and see those. Leave the purpose of the open house is to get clients. If you have a client that's ready to go, you've got what you came for. Go show them house for 5-10 minutes down the road, then come back. Put a sign on the door, be back in 15. Okay. Or maybe if your lender partner is there, if agents are doing it together, one can go show, the other can stay and monitor the open house. There's so many ways to do this.
Brent also, remember those plastic things that hold up a piece of paper? You can So he would have another home that maybe had 4 bedrooms, if this one had 3 bedrooms. And then this home that had a pool, this one didn't. It kind of had them on display on the counter.
Like that back there.
Exactly. And so if they're like, yeah, well, you know, I learned this from Tom Days. There's only one thing that Tom Days does when he does an open house. He stands at the door and people come in and gives them a flyer. It says walk through. He doesn't do anything for them. And they go to walk out and he goes, well, do you want to buy it? That's the only thing he says to them. And they're like, well, no, I don't want to buy it. It doesn't have this. And then I said, well, here, this one does. You want to go see it? And that's how we get
Yeah.
that. So they're just 2 different approaches. You either have it on display, like, oh, have you seen this one? This is right down the way. Or you can kind of, you want to buy it approach, which is, you know,
What's really hard to do is, what I would recommend not doing is going, yep, there's the toilet, there's the bathroom, right, there's the backyard. It's like, thank you, Captain Obvious. You know, like, I don't, you're not providing value at that point. Let them, like when you walk into a furniture store, you get bombarded by all the people at RC Willey. It's like, back off, man. You know, all I want to do is look at couches. Okay. And then I'll find you. Give them a chance. They've already come. They found you. They're in your store, so to speak. Let them explore it and just be there to answer any questions that they may have. I would not advocate following them around like a lost puppy.
we had a little sign-in thing at our open house last weekend, and it was just basically giveaway for a $20 Starbucks gift
Oh, that's
card.
fun.
So we had a little chalkboard thing that says sign in to win. And so they would sign in, and the questions were, are you pre-approved? Are you represented by a realtor? What's your name? What's your email address? That kind of stuff. So,
Touch on a good point too. Everybody's gonna say, oh, I have an agent, or oh, I'm just looking for my kid, or blah, 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 right? And so
Or I don't want to buy it for a year.
I don't want to buy it for a year. Great. No matter what they say, I think you're stupid. Great. Right? Like, I hate EXP. Great. You know, you so always agree. You always want to agree with them. So let's just stick with I already have an agent. Great. Now, do you have any? Now you have 2 agents. Great. Now you have 2 agents. Great. Now you have 2 agents. Hey, my mom's a real estate agent. Great. Barry taught me this one. Great. If I find the right house for you, I'll take care of mom too, right? And give mom a referral fee. So you're still keeping 75, but mom's getting 25, right?
Yeah, because what your mom really wants is for you to find the right house, right?
Right.
Right.
Doesn't she?
Right, doesn't she?
Yeah.
By the way, if you do this form, you need to add, and I mentioned this before, but somehow you need the birthday as well, so I asked for it. The reason they have the social security number on there is so the lender can run credit directly from the form. And if that's the case, you need a birthday nowadays to run credit. I also, KV Core has a pretty dang good program that will sign people into your open house and load them right into KV Core. And those videos that you send out afterwards, it will just take right care of it. So you can set that up so that
100%.
hashtags, and you can create an automation within KV Core that has you on a video, and will load that video into your automation, send it out as soon as it gets the lead that has the hashtag open house. And I have a stand that I bought online for like $100 or something. And my iPad drops right into the stand, locks down, and people just walk right in and sign it up. And so that really, out of last year, when I was the year before, when we were doing a lot of opens, I consider that the best purchase I made all year long was that stand. Because people just walk in, and somehow or another, I've got a little the little label maker tape on the stand that says the owner has asked that all visitors sign in. And it's written right there. And I just stopped having the conversation immediately about whether people were supposed to sign in or not. And then I also, if you've met me, you know I can't hardly read my own writing. I also got much better consistency in the data that came in, whether it was good or bad, or whether I could read it. It wasn't that people were trying to deceive me. I just couldn't read their freaking writing. And so both of those things really made a huge difference.
So if you're with EXP, you have access to KV Core. It's part of your tech fee. So it's no additional cost to you. They have a mobile app. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your iPad. You can do it on your computer. And it's really cool because if you're like, well, I don't want people poking around my computer, it'll actually lock the screen so they can only see that one thing. So it's very safe and secure.
You can also text them a link. So if you didn't want them on your computer, and then you're getting their phone number for sure.
There you
right?
go. Yeah.
And what I've done in that regard, which kind of ties into, like Tom's, like both scenarios are asking what they want, right? So you give them what they want. Have them rate the house. I need to get feedback to the seller.
Yep.
What do you like? What do you don't like? And then offer a price. And then they're answering that. And they usually are happy to do that. Right. And then they'll give you
I like that text link for feedback.
And you can customize that form, right? And it ties in, we'll go straight into the CRM, KV Core, and then you have all their data.
So KV Core has that?
I can make it happen.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So you got people showing up to the open house. Now what are you gonna do, right? You're trying to get them to sign in. You just greet them. It's super simple. Hey, welcome. Here's a flyer. Here's the open house. Sign in if you'd like. You can do. There's so many different ways you can go. You guys got to pick what you're gonna do. But you want to talk about the vacant property list. Not always, but vacant homeowners typically have burn the boats mentality. They're not making any rent on the property. They have already closed on the property. That property's sitting vacant. It's ripe for vandalism, right? So just let them know that not always are vacant houses, and not always is the seller motivated, but oftentimes they are. Would you like for me to send you an updated list every week, right?
I actually call it a distressed property.
Distressed properties, that's solid.
Right. Because everybody that's got a big house is distressed.
Bring up a loan program, right? Alicia is always every single week she's giving us updates, right? Last week was it you don't have to sell your current house before buying your next home, right? That may be a barrier. That may be why they're wanting to wait because they don't want to be homeless. Well, hey, with my lender, that's not going to happen. And I know Rodney does the same thing.
And by the way, team up on these open houses, guys. It's a lot more fun when you do it as a team. I used to do everything myself, and then when I started doing opens with my team, I found it just a lot more enjoyable. Plus that vacant property list, I have left the open to go show them properties. One of you just walks out with them, and it's a huge difference. You could sell a house that day.
Exactly, and that's why we're there. That's
Yeah.
where we're doing this to make money, to provide for our families, right? Here's some here, like they bring up their lender, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is a good one because your lender's the best, right? That's who you want them to use because you have a relationship with them and you know that they're going to get the job done. They may be going with Quicken, or they may be going with US Bank. You don't want to deal with that. And you know that they're going to waste your time when you're writing offers and somebody's going with a local proven lender and you're going with Wells Fargo. Okay. So what you want, a trick to get them to at least consider your agent is say, great, so what are your fees with that lender? Well, I don't know. Oh, they have to disclose that. That's a red flag if they haven't disclosed that. You need to talk to my lender now, right? And you can do that, right? Classic. This is all Brent Gove's material. And then let's just skip through that. Okay, so follow up. So this is where the magic really happens. Very rarely will you walk in and convert somebody, take them out that same Sunday, and get them in escrow, right? Typically, they're going to get some information. They're going to see some houses. They don't like what you're saying to them, and then they're going to eventually, hopefully, you're going to have to follow up with them, and you'll convert them. So what Brent suggests doing is following up with them, a lot. Like Brent says 7 times a day. So maybe 3 times a day, 7 times a day, 14 times a day, but don't call them from the same number. Always come from a place of value. You can do what's called a double tap, where you call them twice, call once, hang up, don't leave a voicemail, call a second time, then leave a voicemail, right? But when they see the same number come to that second time, they're like, oh, who is this? This must not be spam. It's called a double tap. Leave a voicemail. Hey, and if you know their name, hey, Sean, this is John. Give me a call back when you get a chance. Don't word vomit on them. Okay. So you can do the double tap and then also shoot them a text. But you want to follow up with these people. Email them, text them, send them that if they want that vacant house list, make sure you're doing that on a consistent basis. Video text. Yes. I always forget about that.
I just
Hey guys, I learned a new trick in
Can I show you
before.
one of our video texts?
Yes,
that
let's
we
do
did?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you show it on here?
Yes, I'll show it on here. So this is really like an elevated experience. It literally took me 10 minutes to create, and it's with Video Studio Plus. Here, I don't know if you want to like hold it up to that so everyone can see.
Hi, I'm Mariah with EXP Realty, Cindy Silva Realty Group. Just wanted to thank you for stopping by our open house today on Snapdragon. If you have any questions about this listing or any other listings in the area, please give me a call. My phone number is 916-955-3553.
And at the top, it literally lists the phone number and all the information. Yep, it's Video Studio Plus. It's free. Nope, it's free.
There you go.
Yeah.
Video Studio
Plus.
Video Studio Plus.
Cool.
So
Literally takes 10 minutes. You put thanks for coming to this listing. I always do my open houses with my lender. And so he's always there. Thanks for coming. Questions. Here's my information. Done.
That's solid.
And people love it. People love it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I remember that. I remember those people.
And it's memorable.
And when you call, they want to pick up because they're like, oh, they're so happy.
And it was
That's good.
professional. I did pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's
very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
thank you.
And then on the text they're like, they know who it is because there's
Uh-huh.
a picture, right? It's not
Yep.
like, oh crap, which house was that? I saw 10 the
Yeah,
other day.
because you see the house. You always
Yeah.
want to do an angle where it's like the best view of the house.
Yeah.
And like you can see the most of it.
That's
So
good.
That's a
So
good
Mariah,
tip.
Do you
Yeah.
customize that for everyone who comes in, or do you just do one?
I just
and
do
send the
one
same
and I
one to
even
everyone?
sent it to the agents. And actually, we had an open house this last weekend at one of Jenna's. And they saw that video and they're like, oh, okay, yes, we do want to put an offer for that house. So she got one more offer for that house. And so she got 4 offers and she was able to get way above asking. But yeah, you send that to the agents, you send that to everyone because you want to build those relationships. Yeah.
And so you're gonna forget to do that. The worst thing to do is be driving down the road all sweaty from picking up your signs. Go, dang it. I forgot to send
Do it
my
in the
video
last
text.
hour when there's a little lull.
Do it in the lull,
last
do it
hour.
before you leave. Or even like you pull the signs out of the yard, you're getting ready to lock the front door and do it so you don't get interrupted, right?
And don't do one for the entire weekend, do one each day because you're obviously learning something different. You want them to remember you.
I'm supposed to wear something different.
So it's a different black shirt, different black shirt.
We're the same thing all week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to follow up creatively. The most important thing, it doesn't matter if you send them a video text or if you send them a regular text or if you give them a call, do something, but you have to do a lot of it. Okay. And that's how you do the
If you want
follow
to
up.
understand how that works, go out to some open houses and you're gonna find out that you don't even get followed up with.
Oh, yeah.
Go through open houses one weekend and see what other agents do. That's the bar. really, it's not a high bar. You just have to beat this low freaking bar.
Right.
Sorry, Darcy.
It's really true.
Yeah.
So in closing, guys, when you're scheduling these open houses, book them on, the earlier you book them in the week, the more likely you're going to get the best ones. If you're going 7 days a week, then more power to you. You're probably not going to get a lot of traffic Monday through Thursday, maybe a little bit on Friday, but most
How
people.
many do you need? You really just need one or two.
Yeah,
You
and
just really
sometimes it's
want-
the best times to get the best clients, though, when it's not super busy and you have it. I've always found them as odd times. You get like a listing and a buyer, and you're like, okay, 2 people came through the open house.
I estimate that for the first 10 or 15 years in the business, probably 60 to 70% of my business came from open houses.
I got my first deal.
Yeah, I would say it's massive. Even the investors that I work with now, I've met most of them through open houses.
And it's not just for new agents, right? Brent, I think in this video that he did at PCAR a couple of years back, he sold 318 homes. He sold 460 something that year. 318 came from open houses,
Yeah.
right? So that's a veteran agent making a lot of money off of this strategy right here. Okay. One last tip we talked
By the
about.
way, how much marketing money do you have to put into doing an open house?
Just the signs.
None.
Used to be cookies.
Yeah.
So the only other thing that really helps you get more open houses is treat the listing agent as your client. Like treat them with respect. Give them an update. Here's the feedback. Here's how many people came through the house. I'm locking up. I'm leaving right now. Thank you for this opportunity. Right? And if you treat them that way and you do this consistently, then all of a sudden they're going to start calling you. Hey, Valerie, I didn't hear from Johnny. You need any open houses this weekend? I want to go to South Lake Tahoe. Right? And they will actually start calling you. And that's not going to happen the first weekend. It's not going to happen the 10th weekend. But you do it week in and week out, you will develop those relationships. And what's really cool is what happens if you hold the open house and they want to make an offer on that house and you have a good relationship with that agent. Right? So with that, any questions? I know we ran a little bit long.
Just one thing on that, please call that agent and tell them what's going on, because when you don't, then the other guy from EXP tries to get an open house and they're going to be like, no, I'm not doing it. It was a bad experience. Just really. And the other thing is show the freak up on time.
100%.
When you're not on time to that open, it matters, because that listing, the seller is parked around the corner waiting to see what time is opens. And so these are just some basic things, but when you're treating somebody else's client, they have done you a huge honor by letting you hold that thing open. And
Don't take it for
be
granted.
Very careful with that.
Yeah.
Treat it like gold. I mean, you got to figure it out. I mean, whatever you have to do, you have to, pay somebody to pick your kid up if he's at the hospital. You got to figure it out. This is not a time for you to do business as usual.
Yep.
You're working for someone else at that point.
I will call. And if they don't answer, then I will, depending on how sweaty I am at that moment in time, picking up the signs, I'll either send them a video text, just, hey, like I'm running down the road. Hey man, thanks so much. I'll give them a recap, or just send them a text in writing, because if there's a lot of details, they don't want to have to listen to your voicemail 5 times to catch everything. So if you send them the bullet points, Lori?
One thing that Megan, so amazing. She's like, we show up, we go do the signs, and we show up and we ask the owner to please show us their home so we can preview it before we open it. And it's like, oh, and so go through it, and they're telling you everything. They're so excited that you are
That's money.
really interested, and you really want to love the house like they do. So they go through it, and then right at that time they leave open house, and you've got so much information, and then you're able to, talk to the people, and it's.
It also works when you're as a buyer's agent and you call the other agent, just kind of off of that topic, is always ask the listing agent, what's something special I can tell my clients, get them excited about it, and they're like, what? Well, what's not on the MLS? Because I want to get my buyers excited for your listing, and the agent all of a sudden tells the stories about what's happened in the house, and then you bring that house to life when you're out there with your client, and it also really solidifies the relationship between you and another agent. They remember that. At first, it throws them. They're like, it happened to me yesterday. Like, what? Oh, okay. And then it really helps.
You get a little information. Like when I did an open house, I had neighbors come in and they're like, oh, I bet you hate when neighbors come in. I'm like, I absolutely love when neighbors come in.
Exactly.
Can you tell me about this neighborhood and the history of it? And then I tell the next person.
Exactly. Yeah. You just want to create that excitement, get them just into the process.
Watch a
So what
Kyle
is
Whistle video on open houses, because he talks about
Which one?
Oh, that's cool.
He talks about the neighbors.
Oh, does he?
He does a preview for the neighbors only.
Yeah.
Ah.
I've heard that. I haven't tried that one. Does that work?
It's, I do it, by only.
Yeah, because
I
they
haven't-
tell us there's no
Oh, I haven't done that one yet.
Like on the Thursday before it comes to market.
So those of you who have held open houses on the weekdays, what was the outcome and what are the hours you would recommend for weekdays?
That's a good question. Lena. So the outcome is not desirable.
We did it like after business hours, so like when people are on their way home from work.
Or school, so 3 to
Yeah,
6.
3 to 6 usually, yeah. And you get some people that are like, thank you, I work weekends, like, thank you so much for holding this open on a Tuesday. And, you know, I have clients from that because they're like, I can't come on the weekend, so, you know, thank you for being open and available. It's just less people.
It's gonna be less.
Do you feel
But
like you
it's
have
more
more
motivated.
serious, like
Yeah,
more
it's more
motivated
motivated.
buyers?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I found on those off hours too. If they're better, sometimes they are looking, they're grateful that you were there at that odd time.
So with that, I just want to say thank you. I know I was kind of like leading the discussion, but I picked up some massive kernels. So thank you so much for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
That's awesome, thank you.
And we'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.